Ciao, sono Sara Z, autrice del romanzo Non ho chiesto l'America e creatrice di Sara Z La La Land Stories. Qui troverete tutti gli audio delle mie dirette Instagram. Enjoy!
Hello.
Wow.
Speriamo. Let's hope this time is gonna work. The live is gonna be in English. Brianna speaks very well Italian, but she feels more comfortable speaking in English. Lei parla molto bene italiano, ma la diretta sarà in inglese. Thank you for everyone who's live with us. Ciao Brianna!
Oh, you.
Aspetta, devo usare il mio... One moment, mi sono dimenticata. Il bello della diretta, come si dice?
Headphones?
New beats. Intanto, mi senti, Brianna?
Yes, it froze for a minute, but oh, it's frozen again. Nope, it's frozen. Uh-oh. Oh no.
Eccoci.
Okay.
Scusate, un mio errore. How's life? First of all, Brianna Bruderlin, she's the founder of the handmade artisan clothing line, or clothing, The Fox and the Mermaid. She was a reality producer, and then she decided to change her life and have her own business. But first, how's life in Mexico, Brianna? Because you were living in Los Angeles and then you moved to Puerto Vallarta.
Yes, it's great. I mean, it's an adjustment. It took me, I would say, about 6 months to feel happy that I moved, but it's amazing. I couldn't be happier.
So tell us about your journey from being a reality producer and then quitting the job and have your own business, your clothing line, and why The Fox and the Mermaid.
So I was a reality television executive producer for probably about 18 years. And for a long time, it was really amazing and fun, and got to travel, and always a new project, always something interesting, and met a lot of people I never would have met otherwise. But it's a hard job, and like not a great job when you have a family or even when you have pets, because you're always gone and traveling, and weekends. It's exhausting. And so I'd always wanted to have my own company, but I didn't know what to do. I was a television producer, and it's hard to know how those skills translate to other things. They do translate, but it's kind of hard to like envision how that's going to work when you're in it. So I had a really difficult
sorry, like a call came in, and so the conversation was interrupted a little bit. Why you were saying it's hard to translate? What do you mean by that?
Because when you're a producer, you kind of do a little bit of everything. You're a writer, you're a director, you're like human resources, you're doing everything, but it's hard to know how does that translate into a different profession. If you want to leave television, like how do you go get an office job? It's a lot of people I think want to leave eventually, but they feel very stuck. So I also felt stuck, and for a long time I thought, I really want to have my own business, but I don't know what. And I was waiting for inspiration to hit, and it really it just never hit. I was just kind of passively waiting to be inspired by my dream job. And one day, and it wasn't happening. And one day I had a job that was especially difficult for a production company that I felt was really unethical. And
what was happening in to be unethical? What was the issue, the problem?
It was a television show about mental illness, and the production company and the network had framed it as it was a show like Intervention, where we go in and we help these people and these families, and afterwards they'll get treatment and everyone will be better off. But the reality was they didn't have nurses, they didn't have security, they didn't have a doctor available. They just wanted to exploit people who were severely mentally ill. And so I refused to do it I said, if you don't hire all of these positions, I'm gone. They refused.
And so you did. You were gone. You quit.
Yeah, in a very dramatic fashion. And I came home that night and I told my husband, I think that was my last job in TV. And he was like, well, if that's what you want, I support you. And I didn't have a plan. I had nothing planned. But I knew I needed to get something going fast because I always worked and had a good living. And all of a sudden I was like, you know, what am I going to do? And so I really wanted to, I've always really liked shopping and traveling and that kind of thing. But not really sure how you turn that into a career. And I think everyone kind of wants to turn that into a career. But while this was going on, I was planning my wedding and I was on Instagram all the time looking for, we got married in Costa Rica, looking for beach bikinis and just clothes to wear during that week. And I was following a bikini page and in the background was this like huge 6-foot round towel. And at the time I had never seen anything like it. And I was like, oh, I really want that, but I can't justify buying it. I'm not even working and I don't need it. I live at the beach. I never go. And then I thought, what if I bought a bunch and tried to sell them? And then if I can't sell them, I'll give them away as Christmas presents and keep one for myself. And so I searched around the internet and found a random person in India that was willing to do a really small order of them, like a sample order. And I put them online on Etsy without any forethought. I didn't think about how much they would cost to ship. I didn't have a logo. I didn't have packaging. No thought went into it because I don't think I believed that I would actually sell anything. You know, it's like the internet's a big place and I never thought I'd put something online and it would sell the next day.
How many did you sell? It was
like 10, I think, like a very small.
So 10 in an hour?
Oh, I bought 10 and I put them all online. And when I woke up in the morning, they were all sold. And I was like, oh,
so
God.
that was the inspiration that made you say, okay, I want to be in this business. It might work. It might work out.
Yeah, but I really don't think I thought it was going to. I think I just, I don't know. When I look back on it in retrospect, there was no preparation. I just did it, which I do think is helpful. I think sometimes like the more you know, the more you can be held back by thinking about it too much. And I just kind of did it.
This is what you're saying is so very interesting and inspirational. So you're saying sometimes it's better to not have an idea, a specific idea, and just go with the flow, what you see around.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that want to start clothing lines and they design whatever it is that they want or they buy it and they spend a lot of money on photo shoots and on a web designer and putting up the most perfect page and building an Instagram following and a social media manager. And I mean, that you can go through $50,000 or $60,000 very quickly without even knowing if they have a product that they're going to sell. And I think they think I can't start until everything is perfect. And I think that I just don't think that's practical.
You just need to start. Yeah. You have to save them with what you have, even though it's very small and little.
Yeah, and one thing that someone told me was that you have to be very flexible because what you start with isn't necessarily what you're going to end up with. And that's exactly what happened to me. I never planned on selling round towels. Like that never would have crossed my mind. And it led to doing what I actually wanted to do, which was clothing. But it kind of slowly led me there because I started by with the round towels that I did not make, I just sold.
Round and then towels, you said. So you started with round towels and then progressively you started selling clothes.
Yeah. So first the round towels, but I didn't create those. I was just buying them and then reselling them. And I didn't love that. I really felt like, I don't know, I didn't want to sell someone else's work when they could sell it directly themselves. So I started trying to think of little ways where I could create something that's unique, but I didn't have like a design background or anything. So I started with simple stuff like bedding and dog beds and small, easy things to do. You know, like a dog bed is, you know, simple square. It's not you don't really need a background. You just need to have an idea about like, oh, I really would like this fabric, or what if we mix this and this, or, you know, things like that. So,
But now,
that,
Brianna, you sell clothing, accessories, and also home decor that are made in India and Guatemala. So you chose India as your the main place where all of your clothes have been made. You
yeah.
decided for how come? Why did you decide for India specifically? Like
in India, the old artisan traditions that are centuries old are still alive, like block printing. All my clothing is done with carved wood blocks that are dipped in pigments and then stamped on the fabric. So no electricity is used, and it's a slow process. You can only do small amounts at a time. You could never, you couldn't say you wanted 100,000 of a dress when it's done by hand. You would never get them done. It would take too long. So I really like the kind of slow, original fashion, and that the things that people buy for me, they can only buy for me. The fabrics were made specifically for me, and in very small batches. And once they're gone, they're gone. You can make more, but they'll never be exactly the same because they hand mix the pigments. So often you may order a yellow dress, but then when you get the yellow dress the next time, it's a different shade of yellow, and the flowers are a little different. And so it's like you can feel the artisan's touch and everything. They have little imperfections because when they stamp the wood on the fabric, it's never going to line up perfectly like it would if it was digital. So you really feel the artisan nature of it. And I just really love that those traditions are still alive. It's very different than anything you could get in.
It's unique. It's unique, and that's your brand, your style. Like flowers, I saw on your Instagram account those when during your trips to India, because you're going to India very often, those colors like yellow, purple. Like when you see the photo, you feel you want to be there in India. You want to touch the color, the powder, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah, you should check Brianna's Instagram account, The Fox and the Mermaid. And why the name? Why did you decide for these two animals and not the bear and the monkey, for example?
The fox is I always like things from the 70s and like retro style, vintage style. I just love that. And fox was a 70s term for a beautiful woman. We would say like, oh, she's a fox, or she's really foxy. So it's kind of a play on that. And then mermaid, I've always lived by the beach my whole life. And so it was just kind of like two things that I liked, you know, the idea of like a beautiful 70s style woman and the beachy vibe. Because my clothes are really made for warm climates, you know, sundresses.
Sorry, Brianna, are made for?
Warm climates.
One climates.
Yeah, warmer climates. It's very beachy, and, you know, cotton dresses. And
they're very fresh. Yes, they're very like casual. That type of style, like to go to the beach, or really for a day, for a walk, or like here, like hiking. Here in LA, people like to hike, so it could be good for a hiking day. And talking about India, we've been knowing each other for a while, so I know quite a bit. But I'd like you to share your experience to India. How's the country, and what kind of feeling you get when you are there, especially the business? How's the difference between working in the United States, in California, and in India?
Oh yeah, it's very different. I mean, India is like stepping back in time, particularly where I work is northern India, Jaipur, which is like considered kind of old India. And there's good and bad to that. It's really interesting visually. You can be, you know, going down the street and there's like someone riding an elephant next to like a bus, and people on tuk-tuks and every other. It's just it's a real like mesh of old and new, and it's fascinating. And people sitting on the side of the road, like men will go like literally right on the side of the road, and someone will like shave them. It'll be like a barber. Like, I mean, it's just stuff you don't see at home. But it's also a very patriarchal country, very patriarchal, and it's hard as a woman to work there. I mean, it's
why is it hard?
it's very obvious, like they're so ingrained in their ways of thinking that I don't think, like, our worlds are so different. I don't think that either of us totally understand each other. It's like really normal for men to ask you right when they meet you how old you are, which like you would never ask a stranger that in the US. Like your taxi driver will ask you that, and how many children you have. And
Even a taxi driver would ask you, like, you step in the car, hey, hi, how old are you?
Yeah, basically that'll be their like conversation starter. and then they want to know how many children you have. And when you say you don't have children, they say they feel sorry for you. Like, you know, like no concept that maybe
that you can be single and like
not
carrying your life on your own.
Yeah. Or like they're always like any kind of a legal form, it's like your father's name, your brother's name, like it's very different. In the factories, I've heard that it's legal to pay women half of what they pay men, which I mean,
still nowadays, it still it happens. It's
so
still happening. I mean, it's an ongoing thing.
And normal to them. So I try as much as I can to work with female-owned and run factories where I know the women are at the top and getting the money and the skills and all of that. But it's not all that easy in India because most factories are owned by men. I think, you know, their family has the factory and then they inherit it. And there aren't a lot of places that are female run. You almost kind of more have to find not charities, but like places that specifically, co-ops that exist specifically to teach women sewing skills and help give them financial independence. And it's not something that you have to think about as much when you're in the US. You know, I think in India, I always try to find women to support.
So you're saying that in India, they are not teaching women how to sew, like how to sew. Sorry, the pronunciation to sew.
Yeah. They will sew, but the factory would be the person that makes the patterns, and they call that person the master, and that's always a man. It's never a woman, you know. And so when you find a place that is teaching women to have that job, it's rare. It's very rare. Yeah,
and how do they see when you go there? How do they see the Western society, especially towards you?
It's really they're fascinated. I mean, fascinated. Like if you're a Western woman, I think it happens to men too, but particularly if you have blonde hair, and then they will notice you from so far away, and they will like drive next to you. Like if you're in a taxi, they'll like come up next to the car and like on a motorcycle and like bang on the window. They will take your photos everywhere you go. Like they will ask for a photo with you or even just a photo of you. But you will also see people like behind you. Like you can tell they're kind of like pretending that they're taking a picture of something else, but it's really a picture of you.
The picture of you, like
it's very, very different. I was talking to someone that I met a couple nights ago, and she went to India with a group, and it was a group of 8 women and 1 man. It was like a work thing for a group of nurses, and they met some random man on the street, like in passing, and like an hour later they're in the hotel, and this man comes up and knocks on their hotel room, like. And he told the guy at the front desk, oh, there's this group of women here, like 8 women and 1 man. What room are they in? And they told this guy, and nothing happened, but it was just very weird.
The guy stalked?
I know.
They stalked?
He like knocked her, and they were just like.
And what happened afterwards? What happened?
They just made him leave. I mean, luckily there was a man there. It's very weird that their hotel would have let him up. But when she told me that story, it was like nothing about this surprise. Like I'm not even a little bit surprised about this story because it's so it's very crazy. Like I've had so many people, I always stay in nice hotels, like 4 or 5 stars when I'm there. And almost every hotel I've ever stayed at, I've had the employees contact me afterwards on Facebook and Instagram, which was like never
just
happened.
like they get in touch with you on Facebook to get to know you,
Yeah.
because you were at the hotel.
Yeah, like they find your name in the registry, and that's not happened to. And it would get fired for that, but it happens. They're so fascinated, and I don't know what they think.
Do you think they want to emulate the culture, or they want to absorb what the Western society has, like in terms of even the business, the way they work in the United States, or is there a particular reason you think why they do that?
I would think some maybe hope you'll help them get a job. Other ones, it's maybe a creepy kind of like, what imagine like, they watch too much TV and what they picture American girls are like. And some, I imagine, is just curiosity, because women, it's not just men that do it. It's just men that look you up on Instagram and all that, but women on the street will like come up and like reach out their hand to like touch your hand, and like they'll get big smiles when they see you.
Sorry, is it like women would do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's different with the women because they're not looking you up on Facebook and Instagram, but like they like light up, and I mean, it's very sweet. It's very sweet, and the women do it.
India is a unique country. I'd like to visit it, and so I am sure we can find. I mean, there's a lot to see in India. What did you see that was unique about the country, like beyond the business?
Oh wow.
Things that you saw, or like places you visited, so we can go to India. With you, we come with you.
It was really like a lot of simple things. Like I remember one day, I went to go see a manufacturer, and I walked around the corner, and there was a guy working on like in an alley by himself on the street, and he was like hammering something, and I asked what he was doing, and he was like hammering gold leaf, like right there. Like there's artisans everywhere, like even in a little alley making gold leaf, like things like that. I just find so interesting. And my favorite thing to do is just walk around the non-touristy areas, because there's so many people that have little stores that they don't look like stores like what we would think, you know, like it could be a man with some, like a sewing machine that hand cranks, like isn't plugged into anything, and he's the tailor, and people come and bring their clothing to be, or like the barbers.
Beautiful that you can see it. You can see it in front of you, the way they work.
Yeah, I had a manufacturer. I mean, it's not even a manufacturer. It was like a mom and her 2 sons and their wives that used to make me these embroidered jackets and shawls and things. And I came and had lunch at their house, and she pulled out her sewing machine, and it goes on the floor, not on a table, but like on the floor, and she's like hand cranking, like sitting there with her legs crossed, making it right in front of me. And it was I mean,
you have to check Brianna, India for sure, but also Brianna's Instagram account, because you posted a lot. We can see a lot of those like videos and photos. And changing a little bit of subject from India, but still regarding your business or inspiration for your business, you love the book Get Rich Lucky Bitch by Dennis Duffield Thomas. What was about it? What was good about this book? How did it inspire you?
Oh, I love it. I really believe in the power of manifestation, and sometimes I'm embarrassed to say it because it's gotten kind of cliche. And there's a million books about it, but her book in particular, I will listen to before I go to bed. If I can't sleep, I'll put the audiobook on and just really listen to it over and over, so I absorb it while I'm sleeping. I just really believe, like one of the things that she had recommended was to make your passwords things that you aspire to be or to have, like on your computer, and put a picture, which is basically the same thing as a vision board, but on your computer screen, and just kind of absorb yourself in manifesting those things. And I had a picture of this beachfront villa. It was like an infinity pool overlooking the ocean that I put on my screensaver. And I did it before I moved to Mexico, before I even rented a place or anything. And the first place that we lived, I was sitting by the pool one day for like, you know, the 100th time. And I noticed on my computer that the picture of that pool
was the one
next to the building I lived in. Like it was literally the same house. And I don't think I even knew that that place was in Puerto Vallarta. Like I knew it was in Mexico, but I just thought, wow. I mean, I manifested the house.
That
like I
you
lived
wanted, that you were thinking about it. So it isn't just manifesting and keep it in your mind, but really put it out there with a photo or with like in writing, with something that you can see every day.
Yeah, like I made one of my passwords, not anymore, but before, the name of the building that I live in now, because I really wanted to live here. And so I made that my password. So every time I typed in a password, it had the name.
Brianna, I hope now you changed that password.
I changed it.
What was the password? Well, no. Don't share it, don't share it. This is great. This is great because I believe in manifestation, visualization as well. What would you recommend to a person, someone who wants to follow your steps?
I would say start super, super small. Don't invest a lot of money in anything up front, not anything. Do it yourself, because the first thing you do probably won't work. You know, it'll lead you to something a little different and something a little different till you find your place. But like, particularly if you want to sell things, I would say, or make things, start small. Do your own, you know, you don't need to hire, you know, someone to do a fancy website. I did my website myself. It took the learning curve was difficult, but I did it. And I did manage my Instagram myself for a really long time. And I would buy really small amounts of things so that if they didn't sell, I wouldn't be stuck with, you know, $50,000 worth of stuff. I mean, because even a small order, say, of a really cheap dress, say it's like the most simple, basic, cheap dress, you're still going to have to order a few hundred. No one's going to make you 5 dresses. And you're still going to end up spending, you know, $10,000 or $15,000. So if you had like a collection of dresses and you wanted to have a new collection every 3 or 4 months, like you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the chances that you'll make it back are very small. So I think everyone should start with just like,
when you say small, like if someone doesn't have the finances to do that, how can you start without no money or just a little bit of money?
I mean, I found someone that was willing to sell me 10 items of one thing. I mean, that's so small that I would plan on just giving them away as Christmas gifts if they didn't sell. And that's really what I would recommend. I would not recommend doing some huge investment into something if you've never done it before. You know?
So starting by little, and then you see how can you implement the work or your creativity, but starting even by yourself, because some people, as you said, they think, oh no, I need help, I need someone else. But when you need someone else, the job can be very slow. It gets slower because you're relying to other people. But when you're alone, you are in control.
Well, people think everything has to be perfect. Your models have to be professional. Your photographer has to be professional. Your website has to be amazing. And I think that's true once you're established. But I think once you're starting, I mean, I used to use my friends' daughters as models, and I would take the pictures myself, and you know, they weren't good, but I still sold things, and it helped me to learn, like, okay, this is popular. These colors seem to do universally well. This stuff, not so much, you know, things that sometimes seem like a no-brainer, like, oh, this will for sure do really well, don't do well. So I think it's just not to be a perfectionist. Like, the important thing is to just start.
Great. This is a great advice, and I really appreciate it. talk, like the second, the third, the fourth talk, because last time Instagram didn't allow me to post it. The live wasn't saved. I hope it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work. It'll work.
It'll
work. It'll work. We'll see. We'll find out soon. Va bene. Grazie mille, Brianna. Grazie tante della chiacchierata. Un bacione, un abbraccio. I'm Sara Z, Brianna Bruderlin, the Fox and the Mermaid. Ciao! Ciao.